So kind of winging this, man.
Let's do it.
What's been going on, man? How's the week been?
Same old. It's been ups and downs. Things
Yeah,
I can't it's only one thing I can control really, and that's the amount of weight I put on that bar. So anything outside of that, life.
yeah, man. We've been making progress, man. Making
And
progress, getting leaner. Yeah, like I was saying, man, 185 is a solid goal weight, and I mean, I feel like that's about what you weighed when we first started working together, man. Um, I want to say you were like in the 180s, and they said it's a different look now, so you
mhm.
know it's gonna be pretty exciting to see that, man. But this is obviously like kind of a spontaneous thing, man. Obviously, I had talked about doing the testimonial thing. So I'm trying to get more clients to do that now. So I just thought, why not we just do like a little Zoom call and then just kind of see where it goes, man. But yeah, man, like how is like the whole coaching thing like affected you? It's been like over a year now, man, that we started.
That's crazy. It don't even feel like a year.
Yeah, I know, man. It's flown by. It's crazy that you were literally one of the first people I ever worked with, man.
One of the originals.
Yeah, because I initially started back in, I tried to do it in 2020, man. I think it was 2020. I, I either 2020 or 2021. I tried, like I did it for a little bit, man, and then I stopped doing it, man. And I kind of I let that self doubt, like just take over, man. And sometimes you feel like you're not good enough, man. It's crazy to, from some people's point of view, they'd be like, "There's no way you could think that," but that's my mind. That was my mindset, man. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this, man. I don't know if I know enough. Like it's
uh,
crazy. So like I stopped doing it until like 2022. I tried to get back to it, and you were one of the first people, man. How's it been like overall for you?
um, it's an experience that was completely new because up until we started working together, I thought I was doing everything right.
Mm,
And um, you brought me in on your team and kind of just restructured my whole way of training, my whole way of eating, the whole lifestyle.
yeah.
Um, it reminds you, I had another account. I followed you for a long time. I would
Mm,
ask you questions, and you would answer every question I had. So it was like it was planned and unplanned at the same time for us to work together. But it was important for me to one have someone that was natural coaching me so that we could
mm,
be on the same page.
yeah.
Um, and someone that was putting in the work themselves. And you you fit all of the needs that I wanted in the coach.
Mm.
So basically to answer your question, it's been basically just follow the leader. I trusted you from day one, and the result speaks for itself.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it. Like, feeling like you have some kind of connection with the person you're potentially going to work with. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it too. Is like if they're not, if they're not in that same game, if they're not playing the game, if they're not walking the walk, it's hard to really, really feel like you can trust that person, or even it's also kind of like a respect thing. I think too, man. Like when this person has been on this path and they're actually doing it, it's like they've been there. It's like you kind of have a different kind of respect for them. At least in my mind, man. And because there's a lot of people that just they know a lot,
Mhm.
and they can teach a course on whatever, related to bodybuilding, and they can do all these informative videos is cool. But there's also another side of it to like, whenever you got somebody who just, they have some knowledge, but also they literally do the same thing, man. Like they actually live it. So I think
Yeah.
that's a big part of it. Um, but yeah, man, like like in terms of like with the weekly check-ins, man, what do you think about like, do you think that's been like a big um game changer?
For sure. For sure. Took me out my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Sending photos in. Remind you, I didn't even post on Instagram.
Mm,
So that took me out of my element in a good way. Sending the photos in, tracking the calories, um, yeah, all of it. It was new to me, so it was new to me, and I trusted you. So it was a situation where I didn't mind um, something new.
mm-hmm.
So it was. I was hesitant at times, um, insecure about my body.
Mm,
Didn't really want to. Um, I would train, and even everything that I did was emotional.
yep.
So I didn't want to be a bodybuilder. I just love training.
Yeah.
So to take pictures and checking in and all that, it was new. But now I'm starting to understand it. Now I think I understand it a lot more. How important it is to be honest with
Mm,
you, because you're in control of you are in control of my body. You know what it does as far as the weight gain and weight loss, my style of training. So just being honest and letting you know, besides the check-in and photos, just how I'm feeling throughout the week, what's going on in my life.
mm.
So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds like just having like, that accountability is
Right.
definitely something that plays a role. Like you're checking in with me every week, and sending those pictures in, and but then also even like just starting to do like the short audio responses there, man. What do you think? Like, how do you think that has like affected things? Kind of having to open up a little more. You know.
Mm, it helped me be comfortable with speaking,
Mm,
knowing that I'm not always gonna say the right word, or so what if it come off weird, or
yeah.
is me,
Yeah.
helping me get comfortable with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing, man. And like, and also, I think having to just reflect on how your life is going, man. Kind of opening up to somebody else. It can be a little uncomfortable to do that. And open up, to somebody else, like, and let them know like how you're actually doing. That's a big part of it. I think like it's cool to have like a plan. And it's like, okay, this is the meal plan. These are the macros. You need to hit. These are the workouts you need to do. And that's cool. But then there's a human behind that. And to get to understand it, like, dude, sometimes you got stuff going on in your life, man. You have a family, like there's a lot of life stressors, man. And it's important not to lose sight of that, man, and not to just view that person as being just like a robot, man. And so I think like having those check-ins probably has, you know, helped with that a little bit too, just having that extra communication.
Definitely.
Yeah. Um, for sure, man. And even just like, what do you think, like, how do you think the doing the form clips, sending in training clips, how do you think that has affected your training just by having somebody, you know, and you know, view your training, and see yourself trained?
That that part of it, the recording was was something that I didn't know that I needed,
Mm,
because now that it's structured, my style of training is structured. I know every training session, I'm doing the same movements. I know what I'm doing when I go into the gym to train.
mm,
So when I record, I'm sometimes I might not even post it on Instagram or anything. It's
right.
more for me to pay attention to the way the bar might travel, or
Yep.
feet play, or look back and say I didn't like the way that felt, or just it's easier to make adjustments when you have those type of videos.
Hmm.
And that's something I never did before. I used to go into the gym with a hoodie on, phone in a bag somewhere in the locker room,
Yeah.
and just get busy, just focus on what I was doing. But it's weird because you see the influencers in the gym and you have your camera out, but it's not to be an influencer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's yeah, it helped a lot.
Yeah. I, for sure. I think that's sometimes it's like you think you're training a certain way or something, and then like you
Mhm.
see it in, you know, I guess you could say third person, see what it's actually looking like. It's like, oh dang, this, I thought I was actually, that set felt hard, but looking back at it, it's like maybe I wasn't going as hard as I could have gone. So I
Right.
think again it just kind of goes back to that accountability too with the training too.
Perfect example is with my hack squat. I pay attention to the way that you do your hack squat, how you perform your hack squat, and I try to get it as close to, my coach set the example. You set the example for me. And recording these videos, I've noticed as the weight get heavier, I kind of bounce out of the bottom. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So um, things like that. So this, like last week, I dropped the load. Instead of 6 plates, I went to 5 and focused on controlling that weight out of the bottom.
yeah,
I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have a video.
yeah, exactly, man. I think that plays a big role because obviously the training is such a crucial part of that progression, man. Like that's such
Mhm.
a big part of it. It's not even just about doing the workout. Like you can have what's on paper and you can say you did it, but you know that could look completely different person to person. Two
Right.
working sets of hack squats could look completely different. From a beginner to somebody like AJ Morris. Just as an
Yeah.
example. But so yeah, that quality, and yeah, I think that's a crucial part of it, man. I think it sounds something that's made a big difference to
It's,
the training.
I think especially when you're starting a new program, it's
Mm.
important too, because my style of training before we started working together was something that I put together on my own and I thought was right. 4 sets, 15 to 20 reps.
Hmm.
And so to completely tear that down, throw it away, and now we're doing a top set and a back off, giving those sets everything that I have in me.
Hmm.
I feel like recording them is really important.
Yeah, like, and that's one thing I definitely learned once because I was similar, man. I was so similar to you. I was training similar before I ever worked with AJ. My mentality in the gym was similar. I did the higher volume approach. I short rest breaks. And I didn't prioritize really, like focused execution, set to set. I wasn't focused on being composed during sets, those different factors, and just being present even during sets
Right.
like that. I would let just emotions really override the training, and um that helped me a lot in a lot of ways. But I know it got to a point where if I wanted to take things to the next level, I would have to mature in the gym. um and so yeah, just like starting to work with him, man, it was a similar thing, like um and man, yeah, it was very humbling, man. Because you know, you think you're doing something, you're like, man, I think I'm really going hard, you know. And then you realize like, you know, there's levels to it, man, and sometimes you know, it's the hardest sets are the ones that people make look easy, you know.
Mm.
They're not making all the noise and stuff. But you know, it's you don't realize until you try to train like that. It's like, dang, man, this is another level in a way. But yeah, man, I mean, that's a big part of it.
Right.
The training, you know, the check-ins, man. Even just like having the like, well, how's it been? You know, I don't know exactly how structured you were with your training before, but like, what effect did that have? Once you know had this structured, you know, workout routine where you would go in the gym having a plan, you know, each day, you know, how did that affect things?
Um, well, when I started on my own, I wrote down everything. I have so many notebooks of just training sessions and loads and the way I felt. I have a lot of notebooks prior to us working together. So it was something new, the whole adjusting to having some structure. I would literally sit in the parking lot before the gym and write down what I plan to do and then go in and mind you, I was training at 24-hour fitness, so I might not be able to use that piece of equipment. So now I got to do something else. I got to erase that and try to do something else. And I thought that that was a problem, but now seeing that I'm more into a private owned gym, so
Mhm.
I know what time I'm going to train. I typically know what the environment like when I walk into the gym. So and like I said earlier, I know exactly what I'm gonna do once I get into the gym. I know what I'm coming in. I know what I'm showing up for.
Right.
So and the one of the hardest things for me is planning the food around the
Mm.
training because sometimes let's say I'm not able to train. Let's say yesterday I trained at 2 p.m., but today I got to train at 8 p.m. Just adjusting that pre-training meal,
Hmm.
kind of having to push that first meal back a little bit so that I won't be hungry for 5 and 6 hours before I get to train. Figuring that out has been one of the biggest adjustments because sometimes I'm not able to go straight home after I train. So the food goes bad in the car here in Texas. It's hot,
Mm.
so you can't have rice in the car for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day. So what I learned to do is, I stop by Walmart, get a little rice cup. They sell them in pairs
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just heat that up at the gym or stop at 7-Eleven or something because I'm able to weigh it.
Hmm.
So it's yeah, just figuring that part of it out. The food combined with the training. Rest was another big thing too. I took rest for granted, thinking I can train and be up all night and do it again the next day. Nah, I wasn't growing or making any changes doing it that way.
That that's a big part of it, man. You get to a certain point where you definitely need to prioritize some of those variables, you know, sleep, you know, getting enough rest,
Definitely.
taking days off the gym, you know, it's all crucial, especially, you know, once you get to a point where you're training, um, you know, higher intensity, you know, where those sessions are taking a lot out of you, man. And even, you know, like, I'm sure, like, you know, having those weeks where you back off a little bit, you know,
Mhm.
I'm sure that has probably, you know, benefited you.
I never understood. I would hear people talk about deload weeks and never understood the process because I wasn't training in a structured way. So when we took our first deload, it was like the deload was like a breath of fresh air. So that was new too.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, obviously with deloads, man, it's like there's different ways you could do them, and implement it. It's really more so like just understanding that idea that like, you're accumulating that fatigue over time by training a certain way. And, you know, there's going to be moments or times where you're probably going to need to just back off a little bit. And so having those weeks implemented in there, can be beneficial. And sometimes it's not even just physical, but it's like a mental thing, especially when you're training a certain way where you sometimes put more pressure on yourself than you need to. Um, I've noticed that sometimes it's more like a psychological deload, man. You just need to be able to go in and not feel this, this pressure on yourself, man. So yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
it sounds like this probably, benefited you some to have those implemented and to just really prioritize, recovery, like you mentioned, and training, where you're managing your volume. Sounds like that's something that's been benefiting. And obviously with the food, that's something now that I don't know exactly how you were eating with your training before, but has prioritizing the food now, um has that like, you know significantly impacted your progress now?
It has because I didn't know how to eat before we started working together. So just seeing how you were able to control my body weight with just the food alone, and then you use the cardio as a tool. Once we started going into the cut, that's when you started implementing the cardio and just understanding how the calories can be beneficial or the calories can help you or hurt you. When I would train, I would think because I had a high metabolism and I go in the gym and I just work as hard as I possibly can, that the food didn't matter. And I was
Mm.
wrong. The food was, it was the food now that I'm, structured, the food is everything. I can feel like, let's say I eat a whole week, I'm on track. Next week, I don't eat I don't eat the way I'm supposed to eat. I can literally feel what it does to my body. I wake up feeling horrible.
Mm.
I'm not hungry in between meals. And I've learned that you don't really eat for today. You eat for tomorrow. What you eat today, you need for tomorrow. So I think about that when I'm ready to eat something that is not going to be beneficial to what
Mm.
I need to do when I go train tomorrow.
That's big, man. Like, yeah, man, like you'll just feel different too, like when you're, eating a certain way. Like digestion won't be as good, like,
Hmm.
and especially, yeah, it depends on what phase you're in, but like, if you're in that gaining phase and if you're just eating everything and anything, it can seem good, but you're eating certain things, it's going to be hard to even, have an appetite, you know, for that next meal. You might not feel like you can eat for like 6 hours or something, like depending on what you have. So, and then I think part of it too is just like a lot of that could, affect you mentally, dude. Like, like I noticed for me, like if I'm eating a certain way, and like if I eat certain foods early in the day, man, it's like I don't feel like I can even be as productive, earlier on the rest of the day, and then that just affects whatever I'm doing too. So I think it's something that will, how you're eating will affect you outside of the gym, and affect your life outside of the gym in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about the food, man. We talked about, I mean, the training some. And then we talked about the weekly check-ins, man. Like I said, this is literally just a call, dude. I might clip, some of these segments here or something and try to post something. Like I really didn't have a crazy, super well thought out plan here with this, but I mean, like, are there any other aspects, I guess, of like the coaching, man, that like you think has really helped you in any way?
If being able to tell you I don't like this. Like, remember you had put in the program for me to do bent over barbell row.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good to me. So
Mm,
you swapped it for the dumbbells, and I've been
yeah.
sticking with that ever since. Um, that things that I've never done before. I've never trained glutes, but now that we consistently train glutes, I see how it affected my hack squat when I'm on that ninth, 10th rep,
Mm,
and my quads are fully pumped and mentally I'm ready to just give out. I can keep going because I still have enough left because my glutes are now strong. My hamstrings are now strong. It's not just all focused on, even though like on the quad focused leg day, we might be focused on quads, but those other muscles are helping, they're assisting the quads do the work. So
mm,
yeah, training glutes, consistently training calves. My calves look totally different. Totally different.
yeah.
Abs. That was another thing, training abs. My core has gotten stronger. Doing
Mm,
the RDLs. Core is kind of something that you don't think about, when you're in that set, but it can be fully engaged
mm,
while you're in that set. So training core, abs, shoulders, consistently training shoulders. That was something I never done before. So um,
it
what
sounds
else?
like.
Um, back. Remember when I had told you I was having trouble engaging with my back?
Mhm.
We made the adjustments. Posing more has helped that. I'm able to engage more with my back when I'm doing something like pull downs or um, any type of rows. It's not as hard to engage anymore. Consistently posing,
Mm,
that's new for me too. My posing have gotten so much better. And it's not to say like it's just some extraordinary posing going on. It's just, I look like I've been posing, at
yeah.
least. It's crazy when you post the side by sides, the difference the difference from then till now with everything.
Yeah. Definitely significant changes, man. It sounds like having a routine that's customized for you and your needs, man. It sounds like that's made a difference, and having a plan that's customized for you and not just, like you talked about, being able to adjust the training, based upon you and, your preferences, but also your needs, man, like the weak points. It sounds like, that customized approach has definitely made a difference, man, that personalized approach. Um, so sounds like that's been like a crucial thing too.
Yeah, and seeing how you never let off the gas, from watching you train back in, um, I don't even remember, but you know, being doing this with you while you get your pro card and just seeing the ups and downs that you went through, that kind
Mm,
of lets me know to, just keep working, stick to the plan. Just stick to the plan.
yeah.
That was big for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I,
part of it.
and I watched the vlog that you recently did. That was a good one. That was a good. So seeing how you starting to open up more is making me want to open up more and just you know,
Oh yes, dude. I just
like
are you talking about the one I just posted?
yeah.
Dude, those are. It's funny. I tried. It's like, man, I actually was. There's been a couple times where like I started recording one and then it's just never gotten posted.
Mhm.
There's been multiple times like that. It's funny how like some people don't really understand how uncomfortable that can be whenever
Yeah.
you're innately a very introverted person. So even just like by posting blogs like that, man, that are just kind of like it's like it at the end of the day, like what I'm coming to realize is like it doesn't really matter. Like people don't really care that much. Like you gotta really like I'm talking to myself when I say this, but it's like, you gotta really understand that like, bro, people don't really care that much because it's ultimately a lot of times for me, even just silly things like a vlog or something, it's like, oh man, like I feel like this is stupid, like who cares, blah blah blah, like, or like you really ultimately a lot of it comes down to like caring about what other people are gonna think, you know,
Right.
and at the end of the day, it's like I'm starting to realize more now and telling myself more. It's like people don't really care that much what you're doing, man. Like you really think people are that folk? Like it really doesn't. And even if they did, it's like what like it's only like you choose to allow that to either affect you or not.
Mhm.
Like it's like is your choice to allow whatever stupid comment or random comment to like affect you or just not pay attention to it. So that's part of it too. And it's more like if this could provide any kind of value to at least one person, that's really a win. Um, and bigger than that, though, it's like at some point, I had to tell myself, like, you got to be comfortable being yourself, dude. Because that's what people really care about. A lot of these people that blow up on social media now, or like the YouTube thing, like um, a lot of people just follow them just because they get comfortable on camera, man. They can just be themselves, and it doesn't have to be anything super profound about that person, but just the fact that they can be themselves and people can relate to that, man. That's a big thing. Is like whenever you feel like you can relate to somebody, and it's not like they're just putting on some act or something. Like you can see through that stuff a lot of times, man. So that's funny to hear, dude. So are you trying to post stuff now? I saw you
Yeah,
post some YouTube or something.
I'm trying to. I got so many clips. I got so many training clips that I don't post, and me just in the camera, just talking,
Yeah.
saying my feeling before I went to the gym versus writing it down. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I have a lot of stuff. Some stuff I have to delete because I have too much. But
yeah.
like the other day, I was recording the video you asked me to record, but I'll record it and then watch it and don't like it, so I delete it.
Yeah.
That's what's taking me so long. But like you said, it's important to be yourself because it allows people to take what they need from you. Somebody might not need to see you train. Somebody might
Yeah.
need something said, or you know what I mean. It's more than just
100%.
it's more important than it's kind of bigger than you.
Yeah. That's yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big quote right there, man. Like it's and it's like the people that like you for you aren't gonna want to follow you if they know you're being if you're like those people that you're really could connect with.
Mhm.
If you're like putting on this act, man, because you are worried about what people think, now those people are turned off. Like they don't even like want
Yeah.
to connect with you. And those are the exact people that you could really impact.
Mhm.
So it's like you're really losing if you do that. And I mean, that's funny, man, because like I said, dude, there's been videos I started filming multiple times. I was like, man, I'm gonna post this on YouTube, and I just would like watch it and be like, dude, this is stupid. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna like, why am I posting this? And even for a lot of the videos, like those vlogs, especially, and for a lot of those videos I've posted more recently this year, there's been so many times where even those, I had to really like convince myself to just post it. There was a lot of times even then where it was like, dude, this is stupid. Why am I posting this? Or like, this is not special. Like the training is even like the training videos. A lot of times it's like I could just be like, man, I'm weak right now, or like I'm not doing anything intense. Like, why am I gonna post this? Like, um, but I just would force myself to post it anyway. So, but it's funny because once you do that, it's really a lot of times it's not like you're regretting like why did I post that video, man? Or why did I post that vlog or whatever. It's you don't usually regret after you've done it, but you got to get out of your head, man. And I think it just comes down to like those, if you can get that one video up, man, that you really feel uncomfortable about posting, then that'll give you a little more confidence for the next one.
Mm.
Um, but it's
But it's even things that aren't posted. Like after you won your pro card, you posted things that you said, you spoken into existence. And that wasn't something you weren't getting on the camera every day saying, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to get my pro card. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's something that you kind of well, from what I see, it's something that you spoke into existence. You wrote it down or you recorded it, you
hmm
forgot about it, you reached your goal, and you let the world see that this is something that this didn't just happen yesterday.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah. It's funny. I have like videos of me talking to myself on the camera or on my phone, like about the prep. Like I have a video where I was just talking to the camera, like it was like April or something, like about prepping, and I literally just told myself like or I told to myself on the recording like I'm gonna win. I'm gonna like smoke everybody at this show. Like I just said that. Like I played back that so many times to myself. But it wasn't, it really wasn't for everybody else, to hear or to see.
Right.
Um, and for some people like that probably would have come off as arrogant or whatever, but it was more like me saying like, if I'm at my best, I'm not gonna lose. So it was really more so like, I have to bring my best. More so me telling myself that, like, and if I am, I'm gonna win. And I just believe that. But yeah, there's just something about like actually speaking about it, like, and even if it's not for anybody else, but for you, for yourself. Um, so yeah, I have a lot of those. I'm sure you have a lot of stuff like that too, man.
Yeah, and even that's where it doesn't have to be in a video form, just keeping a log with the check-ins and everything. When I'm in a gym and I'm got 4 plates on the bar doing an RDL, a guy yesterday thought that it was something that he just thought it was amazing. But that's something that we built. That's something that we worked up over time. We have the logs to go back and look at where we started.
Mm,
So that's equivalent to the videos. So I try to do it, but then sometimes it's just like I don't even want to. I don't want a camera. I don't want headphones. I don't want anything. I just want to train. And that was huge for me too, working with you. I had to be before I trained. I had to have something to be mad about,
mm,
in order for me to really give it my all. Now I can mentally, regardless of what's going on in life, I can mentally be present in the set, not just mindset, but I know what the form is supposed to look like and feel like. I know typically I know how I'm supposed to set it up
Mhm.
to really to get the most out of the load, out of the movement.
Yeah.
So really just trying to take the mental out of it sometimes. Sometimes you can kill the whole session overthinking it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely, definitely been there, man. Like, yeah, the mental game, dude. Like, so it sounds like your mental game, even with your training, has changed since the coaching, man. I mean, that's a huge thing, dude. Just
Yeah.
how you're going into the gym and how you're carrying yourself during your sessions. Um, that's super big, and I know you realize that now, like, whenever you're just present during those sets, you can get more out of the sets than when you're just fueled by emotion. You can obviously go hard. Yeah, yeah, you can do some impressive stuff when you're just fueled by emotion, but when we talk about like really getting everything out of a set, if you lose that presence, during the set, man, you're gonna miss something. You're gonna lose a little stability. You lose that composure during your rep, and you know you can't finish the rep. And that's when you see like those lifters, man, who are just they look so stoic during the sets. But they can just remain composed, and um you see them, especially like, I mean, that's a big sign, like whenever you see somebody, the super super slow concentric, they're coming up, and it's just like that's a sign someone's like really taking a step to failure. And you see a lot of other people who they're going hard, and then it's just like stops, like there's no in between. It's just like either they're getting the rep or they're not, and it's like I was that guy.
Mhm.
But yeah, man. So it sounds like that's a game changer, dude. The mental game there, and I mean, do you think that's affected just how you manage stress?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot more. I'm able to take my time and some people don't understand it. Like when I have a decision to make, some people don't understand. I might take 2 days to think about the decision I'm about to make. It's crazy because I literally dream about like the hack squat. I dream about it the day before. Like that's how much I'm thinking about the set that I'm preparing to do. I remember I had a dream. It woke me up in the middle of the night because it felt so real. That's how
Mm,
much I. It's not like I wanted to hurry up and go to the gym. It was more like um, I knew what I had to do and I was ready to do it. But it's working with you has introduced me to not just the training, like natural bodybuilding worldwide. The whole team trains in this way. Everything is controlled. What's the it's the ball guy. He's huge. Ball guy. What's his name? I can't think of his name. Tattoos. He trains in the same gym that AJ trains in.
Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba. Just the whole team, that and you included, the composure that y'all have in the gym is it's amazing. It's hard to be that composed when you hack squatting 6 and 7 plates.
Hmm.
That is not easy. Some people lose their shit with 3 plates on the bar.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all.
Yeah. That's yeah, and man, the UK guys, man, I mean, that's how I learned how to actually, or I mean, I'm still learning it, man, but just
Mhm.
prioritizing execution. I didn't. That wasn't the case at all before I worked with AJ, man. So it's really just been the past couple of years that I, adopted that style. But it did completely change my like mental approach in the gym, man. And crazy, I was coming from a really dark place before I started working with AJ, man. Thought I would never compete again, never, competitively bodybuild. I thought I couldn't do it, and step on stage and go through a prep, the right way. And I just thought one day, like I felt like I needed to reach out to him, man. Because it was a similar situation, man. I connected with him for years. We're just asking questions or talk to him on Instagram, before I ever worked with him. And, when I was in that position where I felt like I needed to reach out to somebody for more guidance there, man, it was like a no-brainer. It was going to be him. So, yeah, man, like the mental game changed a lot, and it's still changing now. But those guys, man, UK guys, man, they're doing something.
They're a different breed. They're a different breed.
Yeah, that style, man, it's pretty pretty you know, it's that Dorian style, man. It's
Yeah.
but yeah, like I've definitely taken a lot from them and that aspect, man.
But because I come from an emotional starting point, an emotional approach for my training, it means so much more to me. Like literally, it feels like it's you and me. I have all these people around me, and it feels like you and me, you and I are the only ones who really believe that what we doing the possible. And I know I'm not the easiest to work with. I'm late on check-ins and not always eating the way I'm supposed to eat. I got an 8-year-old who wanted me to eat donuts with her last night. So it's and she don't understand that daddy got to stick to the plan. So it's I appreciate that about you being able to just fully be transparent and tell you what's going on with me. I feel comfortable letting my guard down and telling you when I hit a bump in the road, outside of training,
That's
because it affects the training. It affects I might not feel like eating. You know what
yeah,
I mean? And I'm able to share all that with you. That's important for me.
yeah.
I didn't know that this is what coaching, not coaching, but having a coach is. I didn't know this part of it. So let's say I ever decide to become a coach one day, what we're going through is going to make me a better coach.
100%. 100%.
Some people that I've talked to that call themselves coaches, they're they missed out on that because they just decided to just go with whatever. Some people, I met this guy who met some random guy in the gym and he hired him as a coach. Next thing you know, he's on steroids and he telling me his body is going through this and that, and he wish he would have went a whole nother route. It's crazy when when you think about some of the decisions that people make when they choose to follow someone.
Yeah.
Which is why I watched you for a long time before we connected. I just wanted to make sure that it's something that I really want. I really felt like I hit a wall. Like I feel like I took myself as far as I can go. I literally, and my body shows it. I look so fragile in those old pictures. I thought that I was looking like a bodybuilder, but I was fragile. I was I wasn't. Oh, before I forget, I wanted to speak on biceps. I thought I had to train my biceps and triceps 3-4 times a week. When you have a muscle that is lagging, they tell you to hit it more. Remember, it was a day that I said I wanted to train arms on my off day, and you were like, "No, let's not do that. Just rest and be, mentally prepared for what we have to do tomorrow." And that was new for me, the temptation to train all the time. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
Take the day off, enjoy the day off, and tomorrow will come.
Yeah. Yeah. And also just needing that recovery, man. I'm sure now, especially once we kind of transitioned, to that lower volume approach. Obviously initially, we were running that higher volume approach for a while before we kind of transitioned. And I'm sure we probably got to a point, where you were more appreciative of those rest days.
Yeah, I still am. I look forward to the rest days
Yeah.
just because the weight, it gets harder, you know. Um, 4 plates from the RDLs, 5, 6 plates from the hack squat is not always easy,
No. Mm-mm.
especially when your body is telling like you can do it, but your body is telling you're tired. You know, it's something that you have to listen to.
Yeah.
Um, and I even this is another thing that I've learned from working with you. Um, taking a walk. I've never used to take walks. Just taking a walk and listening to things that aren't all hip hop.
Mm.
Sometimes it's okay to listen to R&B. I've been listening to SZA a lot. It's okay to listen to R&B when you train. You don't have to listen to the hardest music all the time. So
Yeah.
it's little things like that. Reading, how I believe me, man. I pay attention to you because you're one of the most important people in my life right now. So how you go to Starbucks to sit down and focus on what you have to do.
Yeah.
I do some of those things when I have an hour in a day to spare. I'll find somewhere to go sit out and learn something new, or just educate myself. Just because I'm now being coached does not mean the education stops. There's still so much that I can learn on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's funny, man. Yeah, man. Just that's something I recently started doing more this year, man. Was trying to get back to actually reading more, and man, just going through the prep. It was one of those things that just helped me, I guess. But doing little things like that, man, like trying to adopt some habits like that are gonna, benefit me, man. Like that's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, I'll go to. That was like the routine for a while. Was going to the coffee place. That was like the only thing that kept my sanity during the end of that prep, man.
Mhm.
It was like something to look forward to. It's funny, when you're not in that prep to think about it like that. But for me, it was just like super important. It was like a big deal. But um, little things like that, man, that's cool, man. Going for the walks, yeah, like even like mentally, I'm sure like you can probably tell a difference, whenever had started consistently doing that.
Mhm. So what I seen in your last vlog is you went to the gym earlier in the day. I think it was morning. How do you structure your food around that? Do you have a pre-meal when you train that early?
So yeah, well, yeah, I've been training like in the mornings right now. Like I know for well, I posted one of those vlogs. It was like an earlier session. But anyways, yeah, I've been like having something before. Which man, I've been just recently getting back to, which is kind of what I mentioned in that last vlog, was like my eating was not good, man. I got in the bad habit of just being lazy with the eating, man. I had to move right after the prep, so I didn't even know where I was gonna stay. My lease was ending. My roommate, my best friend, was moving. I had no clue where I was staying. I thought I had to get this part-time job. I was working at this restaurant, man. It was pretty stressful for me, dude. Very stressful, and part of that, having a different routine really threw off eating, man. And that's the reality. And just being post show too, it's like the floodgates are open, when you've been restricted for so long. And then it's
Mhm.
like, oh dang, now I can actually go and get this. And sometimes it's almost like you want to go and eat this thing, not even because you really want it, but it's just because you can now, Um, and before you just like couldn't. So it was one of those things, man. So just stress, man. And just bad habit, man. So just now, recently, it's like I'm getting back to like getting on point with eating, and part of that was too because like AJ's like kind of got on me, man, or at least that's how I took it. You know, it's like he's right, man. I gotta hold myself accountable, man. You know, so yeah, with that, man, like I've been eating, having something before, like in the mornings, like right now, I've really just been blending up. Like I'll just have like protein oats, the berries or whatever, and just like blending it up, man. And like having like a shake before I go to the gym, and then post workout right now, I've just been doing like cream of rice, protein, and like that's something like I just started, like I'll just bring with me, it's kind of easy to have to bring with you too. And that's another thing, like that's another meal, to easily bring with you if you're busy and doing a lot of stuff, man. Just prepare some cream of rice, man. You could, if you have like a little cooler or something, man, you could bring it in. That's like an easy thing to do. But obviously, like, if you have just like rice and chicken, you don't have a microwave and you're on the go, it's kind of like, can be kind of nasty, but like that's something that's kind of easy to eat cold. And if you have a decent protein to mix it with, it can taste pretty good. But it's like kind of how I've been doing it. Just have like the shake before I lift, which I mean, I have like my carbs in there from the oats, and then have that post workout meal, and then just have some, other meals after that.
It's like when you mentioned in the vlog how your cream of rice was watery.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I learned from trial and error.
Oh yeah.
The water changes the value of the cream of rice and the rice too. Like I use a rice cooker. If I add too much water,
Yeah.
and now I have more rice than what I need. Not more rice, but it soaks it all up.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because like I haven't even been making the cream of rice until I got back to doing it recently, and I had like different protein, and different proteins when you mix it, we're gonna
Mm.
have, gonna result in a different consistency depending on the type of protein you're using. So,
Right.
it's not even just the water, obviously the amount of water you use will affect it, but also even the protein. Like with this protein, I noticed once you mix it in, it actually makes it more watery.
Mm.
So that kind of happened, and it was one of those days where I was just like, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. I'm not gonna spend more time trying to make it the perfect consistency. So
I never understood that because let's say you know what you need to measure to make the protein shake. That measurement can be totally different from the cream of rice. The amount of water needed for the cream of rice. So do you mix the protein with the water and then pour it into the cream? Like